Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Liverpool Podcast, brought to you by the Global Sports Podcast Network. I'm Adarsh Ramchurn and we are reacting to Liverpool making it to another Carabao Cup Final. We've beaten Tottenham 4-0 in the second leg of the semi-final. I'm joined by Tom Goward. Tom, how are you feeling after that brilliant performance?
Very good mood. I'm in a very good mood. I think that was probably Liverpool's best performance. They had one job to do tonight, and they excelled at it. And obviously, we'll get into the details in a minute. But yeah, feeling in a very good mood.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to go through. You can either edge your way in, or you can absolutely destroy a team and get through to the final. And that's what Liverpool did. I mean, if you look at the starting 11, there was a couple of changes made by Slot, bringing in Keller in goal, Bradley in at right back, which he knew he was always gonna do. Curtis Jones playing alongside Gravenberch in the sort of deeper positions, which we love to see. Szoboszlai in the number 10, Gakpo and Nunez up front with Salah. What did you make of the starting 11? Because I thought that was a great balance in terms of how I would have picked the starting 11.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. But I was also a bit like, why has he done that? Like, it almost initially, I thought, does he not care? And then I thought, well, actually, it's still a very good side. We knew Bradley was going to play, obviously. Keller's a weird one. I don't know if Alisson was injured or what, but he wasn't even on the bench.
But I think from what I read, he was just rested.
Okay, which is fine then. But I thought after the good game he had at the weekend, I thought maybe... Anyway, that's fine. Keller kept a clean sheet and, he plays a lot in this competition. And then Nunez up front, and I said before I was watching the game, I said, I don't care if Nunez doesn't score tonight, as long as he just causes Spurs problems. I feel like for both the first and second goal, that was what he did. We'll get into that again, but... yeah, Jones was all right. Everyone was really good tonight. And yeah, good balance. And then nice to have the option to bring on McAllister and Jota and, make those substitutions. And you look at the Spurs bench and they're bringing on Mikey Moore when they're 4-0 down. I mean, no offence to him, but it just goes to show the level between the two teams tonight.
Yeah, no, that I was looking at that bench and I get what you meant in terms of the starting 11, in terms of, maybe there's a few changes. When I looked at that bench, I mean, Diaz, Jota, Elliott. Yeah, I mean, it's just the amount of options we have, and the fact that we were able to take off Van Dijk towards the end of the game, bring on Konza. I mean, it's just, as much as we want to slate FSG, I mean, they're not really involved in as much in terms of the squad that Slot's inherited, but we have got a really strong squad, and a lot of the young academy players have come in and have just taken up squad positions and just been brilliant. So yeah, I was looking at that team going into tonight's game, very optimistic. And obviously, before we go into the goal, there was that little incident which we were just talking about offline between Van Dijk and Richarlison, and then they're having a little spat between themselves, and then obviously Richarlison goes off injured a few minutes later. I don't know what you thought about that, but there's definitely, because of his blue side of Merseyside.
Maybe, but also if he was a good footballer, I wouldn't mind it. But he's an awful footballer, and then he does that. And if you're going to square up to someone, firstly, don't square up to Van Dijk. Secondly, don't get the Anfield crowd riled up, because remember Arsenal a few years ago, they did, the players did that, and look what happened there. And then just sort of runs around a little bit, like trying to run out of a bit of his aggression, and then gets injured. I mean, dreadful footballer, dreadful player, and stinking attitude. And yeah, I'm sort of glad. It was actually a shame he did go off, because I was quite liking the battle between him and Van Dijk. But just he's weird. I've never liked him, never will. But
I don't know if
he's a weird one.
Did you see the handshake thing?
Handshake.
That's been going around on X and social media. Yeah. I've been seeing it. I've seen it about at least 10 times since. It's just absolute legendary stuff from Van Dijk. But then obviously we go ahead 1-0 in the 35th minute. Cody Gakpo getting on the end of a Salah cross to bring us level on the tie. 1-0 up on the night. Brilliant finish from Gakpo. Again, putting an unbelievable performance, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, he loves this competition. I think that makes him the joint top goal, or not even the joint now, the solo top goal scorer in the competition. So we'll probably go on to win that as well now in the final. Sort of Salah didn't really do much. I thought kept giving the ball away a little bit, wasn't really connecting well with the ball. I mean, but then it's Salah, right? He doesn't need to do much and just turns up and plays that cross across the box. And Nunez, it looks like Nunes has tried to do like a bicycle kick or something. And if
Yeah.
he has or he hasn't, but what he's done well is fallen into or like backed off into Ben Davies, who's then tried to reach for the ball, like header it, but can't because Diaz is like pushed him back. So it might look a bit clumsy from Diaz, but actually I think it stops Ben Davies getting the ball, and then it just falls straight through to Gakpo on the half volley first time, just buries it with his left foot, and he's on absolute fire this season, and long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, he was a constant threat on that left hand side, and I think we were talking about it in the group chat. Like, as much as we love Luis Diaz, I think that left wing position is purely Gakpo's now. I don't see Diaz getting in that position. If Diaz gets into the team, he gets in up front. I think his finishing, his just ability. I think he's so good at either coming inside or going down the wing, and I think he's got such a unpredictability about his game, which I think is such an asset to the team. And his shot power is just insane, isn't it? I think I look back at the Brighton game earlier in the competition, and he hit that unbelievable strike in the far post, and then the second goal just near post, kind of similar to the one he scored tonight. So yeah, he's just been unbelievable this season. And we go in at halftime 1-0 up, Tom, and then second half we get the early penalty. Nunes through on goal. Kinski brings him down. No doubts about the penalty for sure.
Yeah, great from Nunes again. I think I also said before the game, if he does anything tonight, just getting behind that Spurs, sort of a makeshift Spurs defence. Sort of new guy on loan that was playing. They've got Archie Gray right back, and then he moves. So just cause it. If he's going to do anything, just causing him problems. And it was a great ball from, I believe it was Salah played the ball into him again, and you just knew as soon as that ball was going, he was going away from goal almost, and the keeper's come out. You just know that it's going to be a penalty. So yeah, good from Nunes. And yeah, Salah converts like he normally does. Great penalty. I thought he'd skied it. I thought he'd actually skied the penalty, but yeah, great penalty from Salah, and sort of an ideal situation to be 1-up at half time, going into game all square. You've got 45 minutes, you're both even, and then 5 minutes into the second half, getting the penalty to take the lead. I think from that point, I think Spurs knew they weren't going to win. They didn't even look like trying really. And if we could, I know we scored 4, but we could have scored a hell of a lot more tonight.
Yeah, no, I think just the brilliance of Salah with the assist for the first goal, setting up Nunes to win the penalty, and then obviously converting his penalty. I mean, I feel like we have this conversation every week, but he just makes himself part of this conversation, doesn't he? He's just goal and assist. I read a stat just before we jumped on the podcast. It's the 50th time he's got a goal and assist in a Liverpool shirt, and the next best player for Liverpool to have done that is Gerrard with 27.
Wow, so it's almost double.
And it's almost double. It's insane what he's doing. And yeah, I mean, he didn't have to be vintage Salah today, but he's still effective, and that's what he does in Liverpool.
Exactly. It wasn't his best game, especially in the first half. He, like I said, was giving the ball away. His crosses weren't on it, and then just pops up with a goal and assist, and sets sort of gets the assist for the penalty, if you like. Plays the ball through. So just what he does, and I liked his he tapped the badge at the end after his celebration. He tapped the badge, which I've not seen him do before. He might have done, but I haven't seen him do it recently. So I don't know if that was a sign to just sort of let you all know he still loves Liverpool, and maybe that contract's being signed.
Yeah, no, I'm more confident now than I was a few weeks ago, and I think I like the new celebration Salah's bringing out this season. Little cross-folded arms, and
yeah,
he's just having fun. I think we're seeing Salah just enjoying his football, regardless of what's going to happen. He's just been unbelievable. And obviously, we're 2-0 up. We're 2-1 up on the night. So I think Spurs did kind of have a spell without threatening too much. They kind of kept the ball, had a few sort of half chances. Then Slot brings on McAllister, brings on Jota. And McAllister, he comes on for what? Half an hour, is involved in the last 2 goals. I mean, that ball he plays into Bradley, who then feeds Szoboszlai. That goal was my favourite of the evening. I think it was just so liquid football, wasn't it?
It was a good team goal. Conor Bradley, a shout out to him, and Szoboszlai tonight were both great. I thought Conor Bradley did well. Not that I'd want Trent to go, but I honestly think we've got a great replacement. I think we might need another right back to back up him, but he is a dead cert start if Trent does go. And Liverpool's right back going forward. There was that good tackle he put on Son as well, a bit like the Mbappe one where he just crunched him, but won the ball fairly, but sort of crunched him. And then, yeah, just his energy level, both of their energy levels, the Szoboszlai and Bradley's energy levels tonight were just... Szoboszlai started running from the first minute all the way to the 90th. just did not stop. And I'm glad he got his goal as well. He had his goal ruled out for offside in the first half, which was a good finish from him. So I'm glad he got his goal tonight. He deserved that. He deserved that reward after putting on that hard work.
Yeah, no, he's been brilliant. I couldn't agree more. Me and my brother were watching the game and we were saying since Szoboszlai's got the new haircut, I think he's been in great form. First of all, and second of all, I just think he now. I don't know about you, Tom, but he now looks like he's at his peak performance in the Liverpool top. The best I've seen him in over a number of games. Even against Bournemouth, I thought he was brilliant. He just runs that midfield in terms of actually running and putting his ability about. And I just think having him in the team, you can see the difference. When he's not playing, you can see that we lack that energy in the middle of the park. And yeah, I think you're right. He was outstanding today and deserved his goal. Brilliant finish. I'm surprised he played the full 90. I thought he would have had a rest, but I mean, it just shows his energy levels. He can, like you said, I think the 92nd minute he was chasing a ball down by the touchline, just outstanding. And then the cherry on the cake, Van Dijk getting a goal, McAllister with the corner. And they were saying in commentary, it was just like last season in the cup final, Van Dijk winning it for us, and now he's taking us to the final with that goal.
Yeah, I mean, from a Spurs point of view, I just don't know what they. Like I said, they just like they gave up. There's no one marking them. I think Kulusevski's marking them on the edge. Van Dijk runs in and just doesn't follow in, and then no one picks him up in the. Anyway, that's the Spurs problem. But nice thing. I think that might be his. Is that his first goal this season? I'm just trying to think while you were talking. Then, if that was his first goal, but
the Emirates.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but anyway, regardless, it's nice to see him score. It's sort of. I think we were safe anyway, but he really just put the game to bed there, and looked happy. The whole squad looked really happy that he'd scored, and we knew we were straight through to the final, and hopefully he can replicate that again in the final.
Yeah, no, I think brilliant way to cap off a brilliant team performance. 4-0. I think a lot of us were confident going into the game, but I think I didn't expect 4-0. I probably was going to say 2, maybe 3, but we definitely dismantled Tottenham. I know you said we don't want to talk too much about the Tottenham perspective, but just a word on them. I think they were, they haven't won a trophy. They haven't got to a final, been in these competitions and being successful in them for a long time. But I expected more from them in terms of going forward. I thought they would be dangerous on the counter-attack, but they didn't offer anything.
No, I mean, Son is just not what Heung-min Son has been for the last few years for Spurs. Obviously, Richarlison went off and that tail came on. I don't know too much about him, but sounds like they can sign him for 50 million, so he must have something about him because, it's not a cheap price. But, just Kulusevski had a few chances, but I don't think they had a shot on goal, which just sort of sums it up. You're going to Anfield with a 1-goal advantage and you don't have a shot on goal for the whole game. I mean, there's serious issues. There's serious issues in the defence. I know they've got injuries. I know that. But they're for a big six side who spend a lot of money, they should be fine. And they've still got first-team players playing. They're just playing out of position a little bit. But I always think the season when we were riddled with injuries, the year after we won the league, we still came third. So it's no excuse, because we cope. You have a big enough squad, you're a big enough team to cope. And the fact that they sit 14th in the Premier League, they're now out of the Carabao Cup. I mean, they've got a tough test against Villa at the weekend in the FA Cup, which, to be honest, they probably won't win that. And they're still in the Europa League, which, I mean, they could win that, but I doubt it. So just there's big question marks. I think after the second goal winner, I think they just gave up. It was almost like they knew. I think even before the game, they probably knew. But I think when the second goal went in, they were like, right, well, we're not scoring another 2 here. We could score 1 and take it to extra time, but we're at Anfield. It's almost just like the sort of things you read on social media just filtered straight down onto the pitch about them not being able to get through. I was reading all predictions yesterday and everyone's like, Liverpool will win, Liverpool. And it's almost like they just went into that game with that attitude, just knowing they were going to lose today. And they just don't have like a style of play, or looks like they don't have a style of play, or people go, Ange ball, and it's all attacking. But how can that be attacking side when they didn't have a single shot on target? I didn't get. It's weird. I think he's got to see out the game against Villa at the weekend, and if he doesn't win that, I think he'll be gone because they can't they're meant to be, again, a Big Six team, and they're below mid-table, 14th in the league. They could be out of 2 competitions in the space of 3 or 4 days, and they're in the Europa League, which is probably not their biggest ambition. So, we'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a sorry sight for Tottenham. Kind of familiar story of what they've been going through recently. But yeah, back to the Liverpool point of view. We're into another final. 4-0. We'll be facing Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup final on, I think, Sunday the 16th of March.
16th of March, yeah.
I'm trying to get tickets to Wembley. I'm sure you are as well, Tom. Looking ahead to that final quickly, just before we wrap up. Obviously, I don't know if you managed to watch any of the game last night in terms of Newcastle versus Arsenal. Newcastle look impressive. I think they're obviously going to be a big test in the final, aren't they?
Yeah, and we've obviously played them this season. It was 3-0 at St James's Park. So, it probably wasn't our best game, but we know they can score goals. They've probably got the most informed striker in the league right now in Isak, coupled with Gordon on the left and Murphy as well. So they look dangerous side, and then got sort of Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes behind them. So, but they played well last night. I thought Arsenal were awful. I mean, considering they just beat City 5-1, I expected a lot more from them. Losing the ball on the edge of their box for the second goal, I just think, what are you doing? But anyway, we won't talk about North London teams too much. But tough test. But obviously, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best, and they probably deserve to be there. And I don't know how many players have experienced Wembley, maybe against Liverpool, probably none of them really, but maybe Trippier's had that most experience. But we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a good game, a few goals, but I'm feeling a lot more confident for this year's final than last year's final with the kids, and we still managed to win that, so God knows what we'll do this year.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's going to be an exciting final. I don't know about you. I'm just glad we're not playing Chelsea again. I think it's just refreshing to see another team that will be playing in the final. I know we've got a great record against Chelsea recently in the cup finals, but yeah, Newcastle versus Liverpool is the Carabao Cup final. Liverpool are through after winning 4-0 against Tottenham this evening. Goals from Gakpo, Salah, Szoboszlai and Van Dijk took us to the final. I think that's all for today on the Daily Liverpool podcast. Join us tomorrow for Friday Forecast, where we'll be covering the game a bit more and also looking ahead to Plymouth Argyle, who we face in the FA Cup now on Sunday. I think it's Sunday.
Sunday, 3 o'clock, yeah.
Sunday, 3 o'clock. See, Tom already knows. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see some of the Academy boys playing and featuring in that game. But that's all for today's episode. Thank you all for listening.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.